Welcome to my fantasy booking of WrestleMania 37. WrestleMania is literally a month away, and I decided to do a fantasy booking of what my card will look like for WrestleMania 37. And I decided to change some stuff up. Like, I know some of the stuff that they're doing is great, like with Roman, Edge, and Bryan. That seems like it's going to be great. Sasha and Belair, it's good, but I don't like the whole Carmella manager that's involved. But Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair, I guarantee it could be a great match. And up to this point, I have no idea what the WWE Championship match is. And I really don't know what the hell they got planned. Like, really, most of these matches, I have no idea what the hell are they doing. SmackDown is doing a great job at least building up some new characters and get you excited. You have an idea of what matches we're getting involving SmackDown, but we're not quite sure exactly what matches they are. But I'm going to change up the way I write things. I'm going to rebook a couple of other stuff that happened earlier this year, and we'll take it from there. So the first thing that I changed, Edge and Randy Orton will start the Royal Rumble match, the men's. Edge will beat the crap out of Randy Orton like in real life, taking him backstage. But instead of Edge eliminating Seth Rollins and Randy Orton coming out to RKO him and fail to win the Rumble, instead, halfway through the Rumble where you don't see it coming, Randy Orton just out of nowhere RKO's Edge, eliminates Edge, and then for the hell of it, he also eliminates Christian, giving him nuclear heel heat. But Randy Orton does not win the Royal Rumble. Who wins the Royal Rumble? You'll have to find out. Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler will fail to win the tag belts at the Royal Rumble. And then at the Royal Rumble, that's when they split up. Nia Jax eliminates Baszler. Baszler distracts Jax, and Lana gets the upset elimination from eliminating Nia Jax. And Shayna Baszler just does this to Nia and then walks out. And that will lead to a loser leaves Raw match the next night on Monday Night Raw, which Nia Jax will win, and Shayna Baszler is heading to SmackDown. This is important for the card. The Miz never regains his Money in a Bank contract. He will lose it at TLC, but because John Morrison was the one to cash it in on him, Miz is very, very, very furious at John Morrison, but they don't break up just yet. They are showing that they could break up, and John Morrison is starting to become his own single star like he should have from the very beginning since he got here. But you could tell that John Morrison is now going to become a solo star down the road. Oh, this is a fun one. At the Royal Rumble, we still get Roman Reigns versus Kevin Owens. In the build-up, Kevin Owens beats the crap out of Jey Uso, which takes him out of the Royal Rumble because Kevin Owens wants no distractions at all, so he takes out Jey Uso. In the middle of the last man standing match, instead of that shady finish where Roman Reigns actually lost the match, instead, we're going to have Jimmy Uso return and help out Roman Reigns to beat Kevin Owens. And Jimmy Uso is back, and now we have Roman and the Usos teaming up. For now, we'll see what happens with them. But next up, at the Elimination Chamber, instead of Daniel Bryan winning, Cesaro wins it, and then Roman Reigns, like in real life, comes out, fights Cesaro for the Universal Championship, beats him in like 2 minutes. Then he decides to go the extra mile and beat the crap out of Cesaro some more. Daniel Bryan, who was also in the chamber match, he comes out all bruised up. And the Usos super kick Daniel Bryan, taking him out. And the shot you see is the Usos and Roman Reigns standing tall over Cesaro and Daniel Bryan. Cesaro will have to take some time off because he kayfabe got injured and will not be able to compete at WrestleMania, which is going to give Roman Reigns even bigger nuclear heel heat, taking out one of the YWC's favorites, Cesaro. Rhea Ripley will debut the Raw after WrestleMania 37, not during WrestleMania season. It just kind of feels out of the blue bringing her right now. So we'll just wait for her to come after WrestleMania. And we don't announce it. We just naturally happens. Like, oh shit, Rhea Ripley is on Raw once again. Uh at the Elimination Chamber match with the SmackDown one, Sami Zayn starts turning face with Kevin Owens, and they reform their friendly bond, which means Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn will try to be a tag team once again. Bobby Lashley never becomes the WWE champion. I know this is going to piss off a lot of people, but this doesn't mean that it's the end for Bobby Lashley. I guarantee you, down the road, he'll win it once again, and like in real life, and you guys will all be happy for it. Um, I guarantee you guys won't hate me. Well, hopefully not. And finally, Goldberg and Bray Wyatt never return. At TLC, when Randy Orton burns Bray Wyatt, he never returns, but we'll constantly get promos of Alexa Bliss crying and mourning, but she tries her hardest to bring back the Fiend, or at least a reincarnation of a new Bray Wyatt. And that Bray Wyatt will re-debut after WrestleMania, similar to Rhea Ripley. So we're going to have two big returns, the Raw after WrestleMania, which is going to get people way more invested. So stay tuned for that. And Goldberg, I'm sorry, I just can't stand the guy now. He was great in WCW, but now he's just a boring version of himself. So instead of Goldberg coming out to challenge Drew McIntyre, after his match with Keith Lee, Braun Strowman picks up Drew McIntyre, body slams him. Drew McIntyre takes some time off because of COVID. And then at the Royal Rumble, we do Drew McIntyre versus Braun Strowman for the WWE Championship, which will end in like 5 minutes because those two could probably have a really boring match, to be fair. Now, on to my fantasy booking of WrestleMania 37. So, the first match for night one will be Drew McIntyre versus Sheamus for the WWE Championship. I am not BSing you. This will be the very first match of WrestleMania 37, night one. Keep that in mind. And why is that? Well, the story is basically Sheamus and Drew McIntyre become friends. You know, the typical story. But Sheamus has been begging Drew for a shot at the WWE Championship. And Drew refuses because he knows that the WWE title will break their friendship. But Sheamus doesn't care. He just wants to be WWE champion once again, and he'll do whatever he can to do it. At Fastlane, they win the Raw Tag Team Championships, which means the Raw Tag Team Championships will not be on the line. But the reason why they win the belt is because Sheamus wants to prove that their friendship means everything to them. And then now Drew McIntyre still refuses to give the belt to a title shot to Sheamus, and then Sheamus just takes it from Drew McIntyre, just beats the crap out of him. They're still tag team champions. Keep this in mind. And even in the rematch, they did sign a contract for the WWE Championship, but if they both beat the crap out of each other at any point before the match, they will the match will get canceled and they will lose the Raw Tag Team Championships, and Drew McIntyre will lose the title as well, and instead will be given to another person down the road. But basically, they cannot touch, or else the match is canceled and both belts are vacant out of them. So finally, we get to WrestleMania, and Drew McIntyre says, screw it. I need this match as soon as possible. I don't care that I'm not going to main event WrestleMania yet again. Just give it to me. Give me the first match. So the first match is Sheamus versus Drew McIntyre for the WWE Championship. Both Raw Tag Team Champions facing off against each other. And the match could be pretty good. If you watch the Raw match that they had, not this week, but the following week, the previous week, the night where Lashley won the WWE Championship, we'll basically do that match from that Raw Drew McIntyre versus Sheamus, with Drew McIntyre going over and Sheamus showing a better showing than. That's a lot of shh. But Sheamus shows um, that he could hang with the big leagues. Sheamus gets a standing ovation at the end of the match. Drew McIntyre is holding the belt. Um, Drew McIntyre shows off his hand like for a truce. Sheamus is holding his head like this, and then he just says no, and then walks away. The next night on Raw, Drew McIntyre loses the belts because Sheamus wasn't there to help defend him. He'll lose him. I guess you could lose him to the Hurt Business or a brand new tag team coming from NXT, whatever you have to do. But Drew McIntyre loses the Raw tag belts, but he's still WWE champion. So, anyways, that's not important. What's important is that we just had a kick-ass match. Now, if the WWE Championship wasn't the main event for night one, what the hell will? We'll find out. But the next match, Jey Uso versus Jimmy Uso. How does this match come about? So, if you guys remember just now when I said that Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens turned baby faces, so yeah, they have some squash matches, KO and Sami Zayn, but now Jimmy and Jay feud with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, which Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn win that feud, and Jey Uso is just mad, so he super kicks Jimmy Uso and then beats the crap out of him. And basically, the reason why he's doing this is because while he got injured, he had to be stuck in catering. It took Roman Reigns to bring him back to relevancy, and he has loved his run as a singles competitor. Hell, at WrestleMania 36, when The Miz was out, it was Jimmy Uso who they picked, not Jey Uso, which makes him even jealous. And Jey Uso even goes as far as to bring back Jimmy Uso's problems with drugs and his arrest. And it says that the reason why the Usos are not at the top as they should is because of you, Jimmy. You has brought us down. I was always the top star, and it had to take Roman Reigns to show that I am that damn good. And Jimmy Uso is just mad. So we're basically doing the Usos collide. And the winner, Jey Uso, because Jey Uso has proven that he is the better Uso by default. And it would be great to do a good match like this, a great brother feud that makes sense. So Jey Uso wins. And next match. Okay, this one might be very upsetting to some people, but it is a fatal four-way for the Intercontinental Championships. Big E, Seth Rollins, Shinsuke Nakamura, and King Corbin. How does this match come about? King Corbin wants to prove that he's yet again the greatest, the guy who retired Kurt Angle. He starts forming an alliance with Otis and Chad Gable because those two are currently a tag team. And basically, remember the Knights of Corbin, which were originally going to be the Forgotten Sons, but failed because those guys are fucking assholes? Well, instead of those guys, we're going to make it Chad Gable and Otis because if you remember, King Corbin and Chad Gable were supposed to be a tag team earlier in 2020, but it never came about. But now we're going to do an alliance with those three. And now King Corbin is on top and being one of the top heels yet again. Shinsuke Nakamura, after proving himself in that one gauntlet match that was awesome, he wants to prove that he's yet again the king of strong style. Seth Rollins wants the Intercontinental Championship because he knows that he needs to be a proud father, and the champions are the ones that get the biggest money. So Seth Rollins wants to be a part of this as well. And Big E just wants to be the top champion after his feud with Apollo Crews. He wants to take on the best of the best. And sure enough, it's these three guys. And the winner is King Corbin. Yes, King Corbin wins with the help of Chad Gable and Otis. And then throughout the spring, we do King Corbin versus Big E for the IC belt. Don't worry, Big E will be IC champion yet again. Seth Rollins can move on to Raw, and Shinsuke Nakamura eventually will be in the IC title picture or the US title picture. Up to you, whatever you want. Maybe you could send Shinsuke to Raw. I mean, he's done all he can on SmackDown, so might as well just send him to Raw. But Seth Rollins, you could put him back in the main event picture. But King Corbin, because I'm sorry, I know people hate him for retiring Kurt Angle, but if he is gonna retire Kurt Angle, you're gonna have to own up to it and give him big time wins like this one, and it'll get nuclear heel heat. I guarantee you that. So King Corbin beats Big E, Seth Rollins, and Shinsuke Nakamura, and it could be a good match. Honestly, this sounds like a good match. There's no way people could deny it. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that? Fourth match on night one, Edge versus Randy Orton in an I Quit match. Like I said, the Fiend doesn't return, and Alexa Bliss doesn't interact with him at all. Instead, Randy Orton and Edge finish off their feud yet again. And Edge talks about how he was excited to win the Royal Rumble and go on to WrestleMania, but Randy Orton seems to get the upper hand, and I don't blame him. I beat the crap out of him, and I took him out at the Royal Rumble. And Randy Orton says that no, I am not going to face you at WrestleMania, Edge. You think that's what we're having? Well, I'm sorry, we're not doing that. I already beat you at the greatest wrestling match ever, and I took you out. So I'm just telling you, leave it alone. And Edge is furious. Matter of fact, Edge enters the WWE Championship Elimination Chamber match. In yeah, he'll enter the Elimination Chamber match for the WWE Championship, replacing AJ Styles, which I'll explain later why. I'll explain why I'm replacing AJ Styles and not Sheamus or Kofi Kingston or even Jeff Hardy. I'll explain it all later. But Edge replaces um, AJ Styles. Randy Orton is kicking ass, but then Edge gets the upper hand. But Randy Orton eliminates Edge, and Edge is not having it. And then he grabs Randy Orton and throws him in through one of the chamber pods. And Kofi Kingston gets the upset victory. Kofi Kingston eliminates Randy Orton, and the match continues from there. And Randy Orton says that, okay, seems like I'm not gonna fight for the WWE Championship this year at WrestleMania. So it's time to finish what I started. And they show a more vicious side of Randy Orton because he burned the Fiend. So he's going to make sure everything that he does will end Edge's career for good. So at WrestleMania 37, Edge versus Randy Orton in an I Quit match. And the winner, Edge. Edge wins, makes Randy Orton say I quit because. And then we finally cap off this feud, and then Edge can move on to SmackDown, where he'll finally fight for the Universal Championship. That will be great to see. Edge can move on, and Randy Orton can move on from this. So this will be the perfect way to cap off the feud, and in front of a live audience. Oh my God. Yes, please. So, fifth match, and this is going to be a squash match. It's Bayley versus Shayna Baszler. Basically, Bayley has a special guest on her Ding Dong Hello show, and it's Shayna Baszler. And basically, she talks about how she was a failure at Raw. Ever since she lost to Becky Lynch, she wasn't the same. Just uh, burying her. And then Bayley talks about how 2020, while the people were in quarantine, I was the best thing going on Raw, SmackDown, and NXT. And Shayna, you're just dull because maybe WWE didn't know what to do to you, or maybe it's just because you plain right suck. Shayna Baszler doesn't say a word. So Shayna Baszler just snaps and loses it and beats the crap out of Bayley. Bayley is gonna make Shayna sign a contract where she cannot touch Bayley, where Shayna cannot touch Bayley, and just like Matt Hardy and Adam Page, Shayna switches the contracts with the help of Sonya Deville, who is the GM of SmackDown, I think, or like a co-GM, whatever. But Shayna signs a different contract, which Bayley also signs, and we're basically gonna get the match Bayley versus Shayna Baszler. Bayley's trying her best to get out of this match because she is scared as shit out of Shayna Baszler. And then the match happens. Bayley tries to run away. Shayna catches her, punches her a couple of times, and then puts the chokehold on her. Bayley passes out. Shayna Baszler wins, and she is redeemed once again. So Shayna Baszler is back as a top, badass. So Shayna Baszler beats Bayley, the longest running SmackDown Women's Champion. This will be a great for her resume. Sixth match of night one. Finn Balor versus AJ Styles for the NXT Championship. How does this match come about? Well, if you guys haven't figured it out, you guessed it. AJ Styles wins the Royal Rumble, which is probably gonna piss off the people. Like, oh, I don't want to see AJ versus Drew. I don't want to see AJ versus Roman. So naturally, the next best option is Finn Balor, and this match comes about when he says that he's beating everybody he could beat on Raw and SmackDown, so might as well go to the one guy he has yet to beat, the NXT champion, Finn Balor. And he talks about how NXT has gone through a downfall, and he promises that when he wins the NXT championship, he'll make NXT great again. Super political? Yes. Entertaining as shit? You damn right. But this is going to be a way to help NXT redevelop itself back to a legit brand. So we're going to do Finn Balor versus AJ Styles here. And the winner will be Finn Balor. Not with the demon, he's just himself, the face of NXT. And it basically shows that Finn Balor is the only guy AJ can't beat. And this is a perfect story. And around this time, I heard that AJ may retire or take some time off. Let's have AJ take some time off, because honestly, what they're doing with him now is horrible. They have no idea what to do with him except have almost throw a couple of guys around. So this will be a great way to make AJ super relevant. Finn Balor, the NXT champion, AJ Styles, the Royal Rumble winner. That could be a lot of entertaining, good quality TV in itself. And then we finally make NXT a legit stable yet again. Okay, the co-main event, the seventh match on the show. By the way, it's 8 matches total, each card. But the seventh match, it's going to be Apollo Crews versus the returning Aleister Black. How does this match come about? So after Apollo Crews, we keep the feud with Biggie and Apollo the exact same way. I'm guessing they're going to have a payoff at Fastlane. Hopefully a no-holds-barred match or something like that. But the gist of it is Apollo fails to become Intercontinental Champion, but after all the hard work that he's done this entire year, he deserves a match at WrestleMania. That is what he demands. He does not want the Battle Royal. That doesn't mean shit to him. So he says, give me a match, Adam Pearce. Just give me a match at WrestleMania. Whoever it is, I will take them down. And that is when we bring back Aleister Black. And fun fact, if you guys don't remember, the Raw after WrestleMania 36 was Apollo versus Aleister Black, which was Apollo Crews' breakout match, which led to him become the United States champion and become this epic revamp of himself. So it makes sense to do this match yet again. And this match goes 10 minutes. 10 minutes, they could carry a good 10 minutes, but Aleister Black wins, or a brand new version of Aleister Black, and he even has a new manager, Selena Vega, because this would be the perfect way to bring back Selena Vega and basically say sorry for the bullshit that they did to her. So that would be great. Andrade could go to NXT. Angel Garza could be the Miz's side piece or like assistant, something to that extent. But those two could do something else. But yes, Aleister Black beats Apollo Crews in a solid 10-minute match, which would be good. And yes, we have a brand new type of Aleister Black coming our way. So get excited. And the main event for WrestleMania 37, Night 1, Asuka versus Charlotte Flair for the Raw Women's Championship. How does this match come about? Asuka beats everybody on Raw except Charlotte. She wants Charlotte. Ever since her loss against WrestleMania 34, she has not felt like the top champion that Raw needs. So she challenges Charlotte. Charlotte accepts because she knows that she could beat Asuka. And keep in mind that last time Asuka and Charlotte fought each other, Asuka won, believe it or not. And Charlotte wants to prove that that is just a fluke victory. So there's that. Rhea Ripley will be on the crowd watching this match. Very important. She does not interfere in the match at all. Don't worry, that doesn't happen. But we have a legit match: Charlotte and Asuka one on one, and Asuka finally beats Charlotte in the second ever women's main event. The best part about it, we did not even know that this was going to be the main event of night one. So it will get people excited, and it's going to be the second ever uh, main event of a WrestleMania, the second ever women's WrestleMania main event, and I think people will love it for it. So there's that. That is night one for you. Night two, here we go. First match on the show: Rey Mysterio versus Dominic Mysterio. How does this match come about? Dominic has a couple of victories thanks to Rey, but Dominic fails to do things on his own. Hell, Rey and Dominic get a shot at the tag team belts, the SmackDown tag team belts, and they failed to do so. And Dominic wants to prove to his dad that he should be the next Rey Mysterio, that he is ready for the mask, and Rey Mysterio doesn't believe so. And Dominic issues a challenge to his own father. We do Rey Mysterio versus Dominic Mysterio, opening match of night two. It should be a fun match. I think Rey could carry Dominic to a good match. Dominic is not a bad wrestler. He just needs some work done, but I guarantee you down the road he'll get better. And the winner of this match, Rey Mysterio. We're not giving Dominic the passing of the torch moment yet. We'll do that when they win the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. They don't break up because that would be stupid, but it would be a cool moment like that, showing that Dominic Mysterio will need some work done, but he'll get better. That is a perfect way to improve it. Whew. Need a drink of water. The second match of night two for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships, a triple threat ladder match. The Dirty Dawgs, Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode, defend their tag team belts against the Street Profits and Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. How does this match come about? We do a mini tournament to determine who faces Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn beat the Usos, which will lead to the Usos splitting up. Street Profits beat Otis and Chad Gable. And then we do Street Profits versus Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, which ends in a double countout. Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode attack. And then we just make it a triple threat ladder match. Three of the best tag teams right now. And it will be a fun, just balls to the walls match. And the winner, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. I think they deserve a moment of them holding the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. And this means that Kevin Owens has become a Grand Slam champion. This will be a great moment for Kevin Owens. And Sami Zayn deserves a bit of a moment as well. Don't worry, they'll lose the belts like on the next pay-per-view or something. And then we could do the Street Profits become the Tag Team Champions once again because, trust me, I want the smoke. Third match of night two, Kofi Kingston versus Mustafa Ali. Keep the feud the exact same way we're doing it right now. I love the feud that they're doing about how Mustafa Ali is jealous of Kofi because that should have been him at WrestleMania 35. He could have been the all-star, but the reason why he didn't is because he got injured, and Kofi's like, well, you snooze, you lose. I've been waiting for that moment my whole life, and trust me, you were not ready to be WWE champion. Matter of fact, you probably would have ended up losing anyways because you're missing it. And Mustafa Ali is just furious. So we do Kofi versus Mustafa Ali. Kofi Kingston wins, and then he turns his back on Retribution. Retribution no more. But Mustafa Ali will build his way up to become a mid-card solo star down the road. And then as far as Retribution, most of them could go back to NXT except Dominic Dijakovic because he is fucking awesome. Fourth match of night 2, Braun Strowman versus Shane McMahon in a last man standing match. Who do I have going over? Braun Strowman. Just because it's simple story, like Braun Strowman wants to be at the top and Shane refuses. But I decided to tweak it up a little bit more. We're gonna have to go all the way back to the summer, and we're gonna go back to Raw Underground. Raw Underground will be a tournament featuring Raw and SmackDown stars, and basically the winner of the tournament could be one of the top baby faces. Let's say it's Shinsuke Nakamura. Let's say Shinsuke Nakamura wins the tournament for Raw Underground. It's a tournament and Shinsuke wins. And he has two options. He could either get $1 billion more money than the McMahons combined, like just a ridiculous amount of money, or a contract for the main event of WrestleMania 37 for either belt that he wants. Shinsuke takes the belt contract, but he has to defend it against Braun Strowman. But Braun Strowman is fighting for the contract, similar to a Lucha Underground feud. If you guys remember the for a unique opportunity tournament, basically I'm doing that storyline, but bringing it to WWE. And even though Braun Strowman won an infinite amount of money, he still wants to be the top champion. And Shane keeps promising him that, and Shane keeps refusing. So Braun Strowman gets mad, and then we do Shane and Braun last man standing match. Braun wins, bringing back Braun Strowman as a top babyface because let's be honest, Braun Strowman works better as a babyface than he does a heel. Fact. Fourth match. That's the fourth match. Fifth match. Bobby Lashley versus Matt Riddle for the United States Championship. This should be pretty simple. Bobby is still a strong champion. Matt Riddle wants to prove that he's the best. He's the top Raw mid-carder they got. We could add the story of like Matt and Jeff teaming up and then Bobby injuring Jeff and then Matt Riddle wants revenge, whatever you want. But we basically do Bobby and Matt Riddle. You could have either one win and there's no wrong answer. You could have Bobby win and then have a strong run, and then he could lose it to Keith Lee when he returns. Spoilers, Keith Lee is nowhere in this card. Or you can have Matt Riddle get the upset victory and Matt Riddle goes on a run. I would go with Bobby Lashley for two reasons. One, because Bobby Lashley is a more believable top guy that could take out Matt Riddle. And two, I'm not the biggest fan of Matt Riddle. He's a great wrestler, but as a person, he's kind of a dick. That's my personal take. Anyways, next match. Sixth match on the show for the SmackDown Women's Championship. Sasha Banks versus Bianca Belair. How does this match come about? Bianca wins the Royal Rumble. She immediately is thinking about who she's going to face, whether she's going to face Asuka, Io Shirai, or Sasha Banks. And Sasha and Bianca are forming a bond, but they haven't quite done it all yet. So they want a shot at the Women's Tag Team Championship. So at Elimination Chamber, we do Asuka and Charlotte Flair versus Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks, where Sasha and Bianca Belair win, which sets up Asuka and Charlotte down the road, like the main event of night 1. Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks don't hold the tag belts for long because they will have to defend them against Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez, the winners of the Women's Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classics. They lose the belts to them. And after a while, Sasha Banks is realizing that Bianca is the reason why. Raquel Gonzalez pins Bianca Belair, and Sasha's like, damn, Bianca, like I thought you were like the EST of all WWE, and right now, like, hell, I won the women's tag team belts for us, and you're the one who lost them for us. So what are you gonna do about it, Bianca? And Bianca's like, I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go to WrestleMania. I'm gonna beat you for that belt. We're not using Carmella's manager. I'm gonna keep calling him that because I refuse to learn his name. And the feud is basically, it's gonna be similar to Shawn Michaels and Chris Jericho from WrestleMania 19, even up to the ending. I'll explain why. But we're doing this match, and Bianca and Sasha, give them 20 minutes. They could carry 20 minutes. And Bianca wins by roll up. And 1, 2, 3. Bianca is your new SmackDown Women's Champion. Bianca is having her moment. She's crying. She gets big confetti and all of this. Sasha Banks, keep in mind, Sasha Banks has yet to win a WrestleMania match. And this was the chance for Sasha to finally get that moment. She grabs the belt, gives it to Bianca Belair. She's celebrating for a while, and then out of nowhere, Sasha Banks comes with a chair, slams it on Bianca, and then Sasha Banks turns full heel, and then we'll continue this feud post WrestleMania, which will be a lot of fun. 7th match on the show. You guessed it, Miz and Morrison versus Bad Bunny and Damien Priest. So because we have a lot of tag team breakups, we're not gonna have the Miz and Morrison split up here. They'll split up the Raw after WrestleMania, so the following night. But Bad Bunny and Damian Priest wins when Damian Priest pins John Morrison. Then on Miz TV, Miz tells John Morrison that he's fired, and then they break up, and then they go into singles runs. But fun onto this match. Bad Bunny has some good moments where he's like jumping off the top rope and doing all these cool moves, but Damian Priest is the one to get the victory. Afterwards, Booker T, who is on commentary, will come out, celebrate with the 3, and then Booker T rips his shirt off to show a referee t-shirt. R-Truth comes out, rolls up Bad Bunny, Booker T 1, 2, 3, and then R-Truth gets chased by a bunch of jobbers. And the 24/7 championship is back on WWE. Bad Bunny leaves to do some more music and Cheetos commercials. So that's the co-main event. But on to the main event. What is the main event of WrestleMania 37 Night 2? Well, the story is simple. Roman Reigns versus Daniel Bryan for the Universal Championship, title versus career. Daniel Bryan is upset that Cesaro wasn't able to compete this year at WrestleMania. He thought he was going to face him because he wanted to see Roman versus Cesaro at WrestleMania, but instead we're not. And Daniel Bryan promises that when he wins the title, he's going to defend it against all of the top talent champions. And Roman Reigns like, that's your problem, Bryan, between you and me. You just give away title shot after title shot. But that's not me, Daniel. I am here showing the best of the best, and Bryan is not going to hear it anymore. And Roman is constantly refusing to let. Yeah, Roman is just refusing and refusing and refusing. Until Bryan puts something up on the line. Daniel Bryan puts his career on the line. He said, "I have nothing left to do anymore in this company. Here's a contract with my." Here's my WWE contract. I signed my release if I lose at WrestleMania to you. What do you say, Roman? You could be the one to take me out if you want to. And Roman Reigns gets excited. He smiles, signs the contract, and then right away, Daniel Bryan puts Roman Reigns in the yes lock. They try to break it off, but they refuse. But now we're getting Roman Reigns, Daniel Bryan, main event of WrestleMania 37. Title versus career. The match goes 30 minutes. They could carry 30 minutes. They could carry as much time as they want. They could do, if they're given the right story, they could do everything great. I guarantee you this is a WrestleMania worthy main event. And it's going to be the first WrestleMania where both main events will involve full-time wrestlers. So that's going to be great. So no Brock Lesnar, no Keith Lee, no Goldberg, no Bray Wyatt, but we still managed to do the best match possible. Oh, I forgot. Who wins this match? You guessed it. Roman Reigns wins the match. It's a very sad moment, but people who, keep in mind, 25,000 people will witness the the ending of Daniel Bryan's career. Roman Reigns wins. He goes out to celebrate. And the final shot you see of WrestleMania 37 is Daniel Bryan just getting up, crying. He goes to Brie Bella and his kids to kiss. And then Daniel Bryan just walks away, kind of like Shawn Michaels from WrestleMania 26, similar to that. And that's how we close off WrestleMania 37. What do you guys think? Would this card be better than what we're doing right now? What are your guys' thoughts? Share your ideas, some matches I missed out on. How do you think about this rebooking? Or this fantasy booking, I should say. It's me, the ALE Double X Prince. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. And until then, I'm out.